These are 8 lessons I've learned while being a software developer for the past 8 years. The first one is to always be interviewing. When I got my first job in 2017, instead of being grateful and just live my life and try to progress in my career while the years are passing, I decided to not do that, and I was trying to get as much money as possible, even though I was a complete junior. And I knew that the only way to be able to do that was not to ask for a raise, because honestly, if you want to get a raise, don't expect for more than 10% extra on top of what you're making. If you want to make more money, you need to get a different job. So with that in mind, for whatever reason, my instinct told me to keep interviewing. And then I kept interviewing, and I remember I was having like maybe 1 or 2 interviews a week, and not all of them were successful. But when I got successful, when I started to get really good at it, I started to get offers that were crazy, like double or 3 times more than the salary I was getting paid at my first job. And as with anything, interviewing is a skill. And the more you interview, the better you get at it, and the more smooth you are with everything, the more confident you get, the more relaxed you get. And there is another benefit, because if you have a job and you are looking for another job, you do not have the pressure of needing a job. So essentially what you'll do is you'll end up putting your best foot forward every single time, in every single interview. You'll start to collect positive feedback, and that's gonna get you a higher pay, you'll get more benefits, and you'll be living life on easy mode to a certain extent, okay? Then, the next lesson that I've learned is that do not treat your job or your company like your family. So, especially startups have this culture of making you feel like you are part of the family, and you are building the product with them, and you are an important part of the system, and to a certain extent you are, but you are not family, right? The moment when they cannot pay your salary, or they need to cut their losses, or they need to cut some expenses, you will probably be on the list of being dismissed. So do not consider the company that you are working for as being your family. I've made this mistake in my first job, and even though I was interviewing and I was getting offers and offers and offers, I didn't want to leave them, because I thought that I owed them something, because they gave me the first opportunity, they gave me a chance, and I felt obliged to pay them back by staying there. But in fact, time is money, and the more time you spend not getting paid what you want, is money that we are losing, right? So if you want to make $100,000 a year, but right now you are making $40,000, you are losing, you are leaving on the table $60,000 every single year. Think about it like that. So that was my situation. And another reason for why I didn't leave was because I had something called imposter syndrome, okay? So this is the third thing that I've learned, that everyone has the imposter syndrome, and the people who are making the most amount of money in a white collar job or in entrepreneurship are the ones who feel the imposter syndrome. They acknowledge it, but they keep moving on, and they don't let that imposter syndrome affect them mentally, okay? Because literally every single person that you are dealing with has imposter syndrome in one way or another, especially when they are in an uncomfortable situation. So when you'll want to get a job, you'll be in front of 2 other developers, right? And if you are really good, those 2 other developers will look at you, and then they will feel the imposter syndrome, right? They will feel like because of you, they will lose their jobs, okay? I felt like that a few times when I hired some really smart guys to work for my previous company, or the company that I used to work at. And the guy was also feeling the same. He admitted to me later that he was also feeling like an imposter. And that literally confirmed to me that every single person feels this imposter syndrome. But what does imposter syndrome mean? Or how can you define it? So, in my opinion, imposter syndrome appears when you are in a situation that is uncomfortable for you. So, basically, you've been thrown into open waters, and you have to learn how to swim. And because your brain is always looking for the most comfortable way of getting to the end goal, being in a situation where you have to learn, you have to grow, you have to expand, you have to do things that you've never done before. Maybe you have to learn technologies that you've never, learned before and stuff like that. Your brain starts to tell you, hey, you sucker, don't do this because you're not good and you'll be exposed for what you are, which is an imposter. The truth is, every single person that is at a high level, they feel the imposter syndrome, but they don't let themselves affected by it, okay? The fourth thing I've learned in my career as a software developer is to always find mentors and people that are better than you, okay? So everyone, if you ask any software developer, how did you get good at your craft, they will, probably 95% of them will say that they found a mentor, okay? So a mentor is someone that is gonna skyrocket your results immensely, almost immediately. So let me tell you a bit about myself. When I got my first job, I was working for a startup and I was the lead front-end developer. Actually, I was the only front-end developer, so obviously and naturally I became the lead. And only God knows what I've done there. And the code, the terrible code and architecture that I've created in that application, I feel sorry for the next person who went after me to fix my mess or to work on top of my mess, because I didn't know shit. I was learning code from YouTube tutorials, from Udemy courses, from Codecademy, from Free Code Camp, and I was just putting together stuff. And after 1 year of being a software developer, I was working on applications that were bigger, harder, more complex, but I didn't have any fundamentals. I didn't have a foundation. And that was one of the reasons why I felt like an imposter for most of the time, because I didn't know how good I was, okay? And I was feeling like such an imposter that after, applying to hundreds of jobs and having multiple offers and whatnot, I finally managed to get another job. But I was so scared of leaving my first job that I was doing 2 jobs at the same time. I was working 16 hours a day, every single day for like 6 months, because I felt like I didn't know enough. But luckily, in my second job, I met this guy, Dennis. And this guy, Dennis, helped me understand how GitHub works, how Git works, how to do a pull request, how to organize my code. Literally every single thing that I know about programming, not every single thing, but I would say 80% of what I know about programming in terms of like how to do it properly in a professional manner came from my mentor, Dennis. And if you'll be lucky enough, in your first job or in your second, third, fourth, fifth, you'll have someone that is better than you, that can teach you what you have to do to get better. This is the ultimate cheat code. In fact, people come to me to shortcut their learning curve without cutting corners, and I help them learn programming really fast. And I have a couple of guys that after they finish working with me, they do their job for like a year or so, they get hired as mid-level developers usually, and then they join another guy's program that I'm not gonna mention in this video because it's irrelevant. If you're one of my students and you got hired, and if you wanna triple your salary, let me know and I'm gonna put you in touch with this guy. But this dude took every single one of my students and teach them the fundamentals for like 2 months, and then they tripled their salary. If there is a cheat code in this career and in any career in general, is to get a mentor. There is no other way around it. You can try courses, programs, but when you have a mentor that knows exactly what you need, how you need it, they know your personality, they hold you accountable, and you're accountable to them, only good things will happen, okay? But again, it all boils down to how bad do you want it. Me personally, when I was an aspiring developer and when I was a junior developer, I wanted it really bad. I was obsessed with it. It was the only thing that was on my mind 24/7. 24/7, I was thinking how to make as much money as possible as a developer, how to get as good as possible as a developer. And then all these people that were smarter than me, I started to get better jobs with people that were smarter than me. I was asking them questions constantly, smart questions, not dumb questions. And I was learning so much, so fast, that it became extremely valuable really, really quickly, okay? Then the fifth thing I've learned in my software development career is to build a personal brand. And I know some of you are completely against creating content and whatnot. And you know what's funny about people who are like against influencers, that they're always out there looking for new influencers. They are leaving comments on influencers' posts and videos and whatnot, but they never get themselves to go on the other side, which is the profitable side of social media, which is you creating a personal brand, which is gonna bring you money, deals, job offers. Basically, if you start creating a personal brand as a software developer, not now when you're a junior, when you're a nobody, don't talk about how you've built a to-do app and whatnot. Don't talk about trivial shit. But when you get into that point in your career where you are past the junior phase and you are now mid-level developer and you decide, okay, I want to learn more about this and I want to become an expert in this and I want to become an expert in this field, what you have to do is you have to document, and as you're learning stuff, teach other people what you're talking about. And this is going to build a reputation for you. You're going to become the guy or the girl that knows that thing really well. And then when someone that is in that industry, that needs someone that knows that technology, is looking for a new person, they will look at you. Look at all the big creators, right? Ex-Netflix engineers or ex-Discord engineers or whatever. If you have an ex-Discord engineer that has a YouTube channel that talks about coding versus an ex-Discord engineer that never talks about anything, who do you think is going to have more opportunities and more chances to strike it big? The one that has a social media presence. Because it's not important what you know, but who you know and who knows you. And this is going to be a game changer in 2025, 2026 and beyond. If you want to become someone in this day and age, you need to have a social media presence and people need to know about you. And you can start slowly but surely. You'll create content. You can choose any platform you like. If you like video, try YouTube. If you like shorts, try Instagram, TikTok. If you like writing, try Twitter or LinkedIn. Any platform is good. Just choose the one that you are spending the most amount of time on and dedicate yourself to growing a presence there. And trust me, you will never run out of money, run out of deals, run out of jobs, okay? This is pretty much guaranteed success. I think this is the seventh thing that I've learned, is to master your fundamentals. I'm not gonna lie, I have been onboarding people from boot camps, from university that have a degree and whatnot in computer science, self-taught developers with 2 or 3 years of experience. And whenever I ask them basic questions, like the difference between map and for each, or what's the difference between map and filter, or implement filter from scratch, or write a for loop even, or what's the difference between var, let, and const, people do not know their basics. And if you do not know your basics, you'll not get a job. Or if you get a job, you'll be having a job and you'll have very weak foundations. And those very weak foundations will quadruple the imposter syndrome that you're feeling. Because right now, you're not just feeling like an imposter, you're actually an imposter. You need to know your shit, your fundamentals, the basics, the loops, the if statements, the definitions of basic things. If you're a JavaScript developer, you need to know the basic APIs of the tools that you're using on a day-to-day basis, the basic APIs of React, understand how React is built, what are the main benefits of React, how does the front end work, what are the main technologies. Like, you need to be able to explain certain things to a 5-year-old. And I have noticed that, since ChatGPT really, this problem grew exponentially, because right now people focus a lot on building apps, shitty apps nonetheless, but they focus so much on building apps that they forget that there is a theoretical part of software engineering that you need to know about, and you need to know it really well, because there's a very, very high chance that you'll be put in front of an ultra nerd that is the gatekeeper of a $150,000 salary, and you will not know how to answer basic questions. And it's going to be a pity because you just lost $150,000. I don't want you to be in that position, and you always have to be prepared. Now, I'm going to give you a game plan for actually learning this stuff, is asking yourself, hey, if someone would ask me this question, would I know the answer to it? And then you can spend maybe 20, 30 minutes, and you can list out all the bullshit that you're not good at. You know it. You know really well if you know Flexbox, if you know Grid, if you know the difference between varlet and const. All these things, if you know what scope is, if you know how to explain what scope is, ask yourself these questions, and if you do not know the answer, or if you do not sound convinced by your answer, write everything down and then spend a weekend trying to answer every single question, then write down every single answer until it's ingrained in your brain. Now, the eighth lesson I've learned in my career as a software developer is to not stay too long at one company. So in my second to last job, I fell into the trap of having golden handcuffs. So I was getting paid, roughly speaking, 6 times the average salary of any person on the street. I was basically in the 1% earners in that country. With that salary, I checked it in my, it was like a chart, and I put the salary I was making, and I was in the top 1% in that country. And it was really, really good. But the problem was that I started to get bored by that job, and I stopped learning new stuff. I stopped being interested in coding, and I wanted to leave, but the salary was so good that I just couldn't do it. The only way to do it was to move to London, make more money, yeah, but really, I didn't like the girls in London. I was in Prague, so I moved for the Russian chicks, if I'm being honest with you. I have moved for cheap rent. I was paying $1,000 for rent in the city center in like a banging apartment. I was paying almost no taxes because taxes were so low in Czech Republic. So I was like, fuck it, I cannot go anywhere where I can get more money than this. So I stayed in that job, and then I lost my ability to interview. I lost my flair, my charm, my wit in the interviews. I lost it. So my advice for you is that whenever you get a job, do not plan to stay for more than 1 or 2 years. 2 years, I would say, is more than enough. You will not retire at any of these companies, okay? It's not like how it used to be for our grandparents. They were working for a company for the rest of their lives. No. You're gonna work for a couple of years, then you'll move to another company, you'll learn new things, you'll make more money. And you know what? The last thing that I want to talk about is money, right? I hate these fucking nerds who say you shouldn't do this job for the money. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I was a barista. Do you think I was being a barista because I love making money? No, I needed money to pay my fucking rent, but I didn't have any other skills. And you are gonna tell me, you ultra nerd, to not become a software developer because I'm not passionate about it like you are? What does passion has to do with making money? I can absolutely hate it, make 3 times more than a barista, 4 times more, 5 times more, I don't know, and still hate it. I would rather make more money and hate it than make no money and hate it. It's like, I would rather cry in a Lamborghini than be happy on a bicycle, really. So don't be afraid by going where you get paid more. If you don't like it, you always have the option to downgrade and make less money. But for what I know, you need to sometimes suck it up for a couple of years, get your money up, get your savings up, so you can, have an emergency fund, be able to have some cash to invest, maybe in properties, in Airbnb, in crypto, in whatever you want to do, right? You need cash. A software development job is going to give you cash, and you need time. A software development job is going to give you time. And at the end of the day, it's what you make with it, okay? There are people who are miserable doing this job, and there are people that are absolutely loving it because they know how to manage their lives, right? And this is something that you have to figure out for yourself, how to make the most out of the jobs and the skills that you have available, and also the skills that you can potentially learn, because you are literally not limited by anything in this day and age. If you want me to how to learn to code as fast as possible, guaranteed, we have a money back guarantee and $1,000 for wasting your time. Click on the first link in the description, apply for the mentorship, and you'll learn how to code really, really fucking fast, because I have a unique method. I don't want to talk about it on YouTube because everyone's going to start copying it. But when you join the call, we'll identify if we can help you or not. And if we can help you, we'll show you exactly how it works. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, it makes sense. Nobody else is doing this, okay? So that's pretty much it. I hope you have a great day. Peace out.